Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to Field Test. This is a segment where I just go out and get a random piece of survival equipment and I'll test it out, give you the pros, give you the cons, and my own opinion on what I've got. Now I just want to start by saying that I am in no way paid for by any company for my reviews, and I am using my own money to go out and buy them, so they're not being supplied by someone. So these are completely honest reviews in my opinion. So today I went out and got myself a multi-tool shovel. What is a multi-tool shovel, you may ask? Well, it's just that. It is a shovel that has multiple uses. Now, I've seen these all over the internet. Every time I type in survival gear and look for something, I always get inundated with search results for these shovels. So I thought, why not? I'm going to buy myself one and give it a shot, because the shovel I carry needs to be replaced anyway. So let's have a look. Alright, so it comes in two separate bags. I would prefer it to be in one if they could attach that, because then I run less chance of losing one of the parts. Alright, so we'll start off by having a look at the shovel end. Alright, so already I can see that this shovel, once I put it together, now that is a fairly substantial shovel. So that's like 3-4 mil thick stainless steel. And having a look at the shovel head itself, you got quite a nice little sharp cutting edge along that side, so along there. You've got 3 spanners, I'm guessing, for loosening nuts and bolts. I don't know where I'm going to find any out here, but you never know. And it's got a saw along this side, which is relatively sharp. We'll give that a test a bit later. And it's got another little blade in here, which I'm guessing is probably like a twine blade, or just for trimming little sticks and stuff or something. One thing I'm actually impressed with at the moment though is that right there. Normally on these foldable shovels, that's just a little piece of mild steel tubing, but that right there is a solid chunk of machined aluminium. Same as the collar. The collar itself that winds it up, machined aluminium, and so is the handle. So it is a fairly well built shovel. Now this shovel only cost me $35 from Anaconda, so it's not too big of an outlay, and already I am starting to be impressed. So let's have a look at what else this shovel has to offer. Alright, so let's see what's in here. Okay, so there's one extension. Ow. Alright, so inside this extension we have a little stainless steel blade, again with a bottle opener and with a saw on it. It's a semi-decent blade. It doesn't really have much. It thins right out to go into that collar there. It's probably for space saving, so it's not going to be the strongest knife on the planet, but we'll give it a test, see how it goes. Okay, and so that just safely locks into there, so it screws in with a thread. And I noticed that all these have got seals on them, so I'm guessing the idea is that you can store dry material in the handle as well if needed. Alright, so let's have a look at the other one. Alright, so this obviously is the base piece, and it has a glass breaker on the end. So a glass breaker is just a sharp point that you can hit against glass, and it puts all that pressure on that tiny little point, causing glass to shatter. Inside here though, we have a little ferro rod. So if you don't know what a ferro rod is, a ferrocerium rod, basically it is for making fire. So it throws sparks out so you can make fire. Further to that, on the other side of the ferrocerium rod, we have a little emergency whistle, which is quite loud, which is good because whistles travel a lot further than voices out in the bush, especially if there's wind and stuff around. So let's put it all together. Okay, so at the moment I am liking this. I am liking having a blade a bit further away from my hands for reach, because I'm only a short person, so the more reach I can get, the better. And also, if you do happen to come across a predatory animal, it's giving you a bit more of a reach as well. So I'm liking that. Alright, so that is it all together. Now it is a solid shovel. It is full machined aluminium handle, stainless steel shovel head. Now that's roughly about 700mm length in the handle there. So that is actually better than the one I have in my car, which is only about that long. One thing I have noticed though is with this shovel, it is physically a lot bigger than the one I carry. So if I was to not put it all back in the bag, that is what I am left with. Now, one thing I didn't like when I pulled that knife out of the bag, in that there is no way that it secures in there safely. So it is just going to be moving around in there. So if that blade was facing down, if my bag was jostling around and everything, that blade's going to go through that thin bag and it's going to go either into my backpack, or if I sit on my backpack, it could go into me. So I think for safety, I'm going to have to leave that in there. Another thing I have noticed is, unlike my other shovels, I can only lock it for storage in that position, which isn't really great for space saving. With my other shovel, I can lock it in the complete flat position. And of course, like most trenching tools or camp shovels, this one has got multiple ways of staying in certain spots. So now we will get to seeing what it can do. Alright, so we're going to start with the cutting blade on the side of the shovel. Now, I already know that this works because I just cut this little branch off with it. Now, a lot of the branches around here are quite crumbly and already dead, so I wanted to get something a bit fresher. So I already know that this works, but I'll show you what it does. So that right there is pretty effective as a cutting blade. So that's the blade I'm using with the weight of the shovel, which it has got a fair bit of weight in it. That's cutting through that pretty easy. It could probably cut through something bigger with a few whacks, but to prove the concept, that's working quite well. Now we'll move on to the saw. So for the saw, I've grabbed something a bit bigger, a bit harder. Okay, already that's starting to rattle loose. I guess just give it a quick tighten up again. Now this branch is very dry, so it is a bit tougher to cut through, but it is doing the job. Okay, so it's not the sharpest saw that I've ever used. The one on my Victorinox Swiss Army knife is quite a lot sharper than that, but that will saw through. I mean, it takes a little bit more effort. It is only a very small saw, but it's going to do the job, so I'm happy with that. Now let's have a look at what the knife can do. Alright, standard sort of knife, straight blade, saw on the back. Okay, already having such a thick handle with such a small blade is being quite cumbersome. Could make it easier by shortening that down. So now I'm just using that. So as a knife, it's doing what a knife does. We'll just give it a bit of a test. Alright, do you hear that? Just those little hits, I've managed to wobble that knife loose. So if you have a look at that. So that knife has already, just from that little test, has already come loose in that, if you can hear that. That's not too great. That knife's not going to last long. But in a pinch, it'll work. It's going to stop me from using my main knife, which is a good thing. And yeah, so not the strongest knife in the world, but it is a knife, and the best survival knife is the knife you've got on you. So I'm not going to judge it too harshly on that. Okay. Alright, so now you're seeing what the shovel can do. I can actually hear that blade rattling around in there now that I've loosened it up, which is a little bit annoying. I'll give you my opinion. So the pros, the construction of the actual shovel, the head, the locking mechanism, the handle is excellent. So that is a big plus for that. Another pro is the fact that it has the ferrocerium rod, the glass breaker, and knife. So it does what it says it's going to do. The cons, obviously that blade isn't strong enough, but it was cheap, so I'm not going to judge it too harshly on that. And I was hitting it with a bit of side force and everything like that too. So I was using it for something other than what it was used for, purely just to give it a bit more of a test. Another con, the fact I can't lock the shovel in the folded position. I can only lock it on certain angles. And of course the last con is the fact that when I put it all together, unless I find another way to carry that knife blade and put it in that pouch or slot it in there, there is no safe way to carry that knife unless it's in the handle, because at the moment it is sitting in this part where it is completely safe. If it's in there, it's just going to be floating around in my bag, and that's not what I want. If I fall over or something, that knife can easily go through my bag and into me, and that would be bad. But all in all, $35 this cost me from Anaconda, and it is definitely going to be replacing the shovel that I keep in my car. It's not going to be replacing the shovel I carry with me, but it's definitely going to be replacing the shovel I keep in my car. Thanks for watching.